Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today we did it. 666 subscribers, well past that now. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the support, for being with me as this channel grows. I am so grateful and can't wait to see it grow more, but for now, for hitting that milestone, I'm going to celebrate. And to do that, I have been collecting questions from you, my audience. I got a lot of great responses. Excited to give my response to those. So, let's get into it. The Infinite Jukebox asked which fellow music YouTuber go check out their channel. They asked, are there any classic / iconic metal bands that you just can't get into? At that, are there any older or semi-older metal bands that you think should be legends but aren't? Well, there are some esteemed classic metal bands that I would say I haven't dived into yet. Saxon comes to mind. As for bands that I think should be legends, there are a couple. I would say Cirith Ungol and Fate's Warning. Those are two bands that are really loved by metal obsessives, such as myself, but haven't received that universal acclaim and recognition. Idle Ruin asked me, how do you deal with review burnout when it happens? This is a great question because, frankly, it does happen. Something I've done to kind of mitigate that is, at the beginning, I didn't take any days off from this. I've been trying to work in 1 day a week where I don't do any active content work. I take that day to catch up on all the listening that I have to do for that week. But also, it just really helps that I genuinely love the content that I talk about. And really the main thing that helps, that keeps me going, is the feedback I get, the support I get from my audience. So thank you so much for that. It's the back and forth with the people that watch my videos that keeps me motivated and keeps me going. And lastly, it's diversity in content. I review different types of metal, different subgenres, and I throw in some interviews and stuff like this that I'm recording right now that keeps it fresh and interesting for me. Dark Sigil Productions asked me, what was the driving inspiration for creating Beaver Mosh? Well, simply put, I love metal, and I wanted to be a more active participant in the metal scene. This was my outlet. And also, I wanted to create a channel that focused on talking about and giving light to current underground releases. There are other metal YouTubers that focus on other things, and good for them, but this was kind of the gap that I wanted to fill. Trench Gun asked me, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Well, thank you for this question. I did a little research, and I conducted a few various studies that I found online. And it seems that there is not a complete consensus, but the agreement is that it's around 24 to 29 miles per hour. I got a couple questions from Sleeping Village Reviews, which check out their site. Some more great metal reviews and other reviews. Doesn't focus solely on metal. I have done a guest review for them. Love their site, love their content, doing great work. It's also helped me quite a bit. So please check out Sleeping Village Reviews. Anyway, Sleeping Village Reviews asked me, what is your process for scripting reviews? Well, I give everything I review at least 3 listens. You can go in assuming that I have given it multiple go-throughs. The first 2 listens are just kind of cursory listen-throughs, getting familiarized with the record. But the third listen-through is one I'm giving my complete attention to, with my notepad, just kind of jotting down what I'm hearing, what I'm noticing. And then after I go through that, I kind of clean it up, get it into presentation form, and then kind of put together an intro and outro, some wrap-up thoughts, and then I record the review the next day. And then Sleeping Village Reviews asked me, when working on a review, do you typically immerse yourself exclusively in that album, or are you working on lots of stuff all at once? I'm always interested in the process, especially when output is so consistent. Yes and no, kind of both. I am always listening to a lot of new releases at once, especially on release day, trying to figure out what I want to talk about. But I kind of do develop a calendar, and there I can kind of decide what I'm going to talk about in the week. So in that way, I'm working on a lot at once. But I'm always kind of alternating days, and one day I will be scripting a review, and then the next day I will be recording that review. So working exclusively on one for 2 days, and then repeating that cycle. That has kind of been my work process since I've started this. That has worked out for me. Got a couple questions from Hyper Death Girl here. First off, would you ever do reviews of classic albums you like? Possibly. If that's something people want me to do. However, I will say that, classic metal albums have been talked about a lot by other YouTubers here. So I don't know if you need me to also tell you that Master of Reality rules, but let me know. Give me pushback on that if you think. You can convince me otherwise if that's something you want from me. I'm saying that to everyone who watches this channel. And then the other question I got from Hyper Death Girl is, what's your favorite non-rock metal music? And thanks for asking that. I have a few answers to that. I have a real soft spot for like classic country, Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn, that type of stuff. I do like a lot of hip hop, especially 90s hip hop. Mobb Deep is a big one for me. Like a lot of darker folk, like electronic and ambient, Aphex Twin type stuff. I do like other music. From the Inkrit, they asked, what is your palate cleansing album? The one you always go back to in between discoveries for contrast and stuff. I really like Alice in Chains' Dirt. Some might consider that a metal album. Regardless, it's definitely different enough from what I'm listening to regularly or discovering or reviewing. It also works really well to put on at work when I'm behind the bar. Also, for like those type of records, Animals by Pink Floyd also works really well. Weston, the queer breakfast anarchist, a writer for Noob Heavy, which go check out their site if you haven't. Great metal reviews of just heavy music in general, asked me, what do you consider to be the definitive metal band of each decade up to now? This was a really good question. One I had to think about, one I hesitated a bit on my answers, went back and forth, and who I could probably see myself changing answers week by if I felt different on a different week, and probably one where people are going to disagree with me in the comments, and I welcome that. Please debate me. This will be fun. 70s, I got to give it to Black Sabbath. 80s, Iron Maiden. 90s is when it gets interesting. I would say Death. 2000s, Mastodon. And then 2010s, I'm giving it to Power Trip. Simon asked me, if you had to pick one album from everything you've reviewed so far, which would it be? Well, for this, I'm going to only consider records I gave a few full video review of. And looking back at all my videos, I think if there was one record I would pick, it would be Loud Arriver by Sonia. It's a record I do revisit a lot and has kind of created a special place for me. So yeah, that would be it. I was really happy I got this question. Cole asked me, what is your ideal soundtrack for grinding out a skill in OSRS? Acronym for Old School RuneScape. Well, I've mentioned it in content a couple times so far, but I am a very active player in the MMORPG RuneScape, specifically the kind of older legacy version. I am very much a part of that gaming community. It's my other big hobby other than metal, and it's for those that are unfamiliar, it's a medieval open world fantasy RPG. And so with that, I think a good fit would be some real dungeon synth laden black metal, summoning type stuff, or also some real euphoric epic power metal. You do slay dragons in this game, so stuff like that. But really, I'm always playing RuneScape while I'm listening to metal to talk about on this show. So really, anything metal related is kind of been the soundtrack for when I'm grinding out a skill and getting XP in OSRS. I believe it's Phil that manned, and I was asked, how much attention do you pay to the physical formats? How many LPs, CDs, tapes do you have in your collection? And what is your favorite format? I love collecting. I do definitely have physical records. My vinyl collection over here is in the few hundreds. Maybe not as big as other YouTubers whose focus is showing off their collection. But I do love buying records. I also have a handful of tapes. I don't have a ton of money to spend on it, but I do try to buy a couple a month. I was actually at the record store the other day. My favorite format is vinyl. I love the big artwork and just the physical engagement with the music, getting up, putting on the platter, flipping sides. It just feels like an event. From Destiny Bennett 4622. Would you ever do album rankings of bands? Love your content, by the way. Well, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate your support. That's so kind. And, well, my answer would be maybe. I typically want to kind of keep my focus on reviews and interviews, really kind of honing in on the current state of metal. However, let me know if that's something my audience really want. It's something I can consider. I will say that band discography rankings is something I've considered for my Patreon, which I'm in the beginning stages of putting together. So that's something that could pop up there. Runaclim3299 asked me, have you ever played an instrument? Have you ever been in a band? Yes, so I will say not super well. To be honest, I'm not the most coordinated person, which is why it probably never stuck. But I did play and was I would say, a serviceable guitar and bass player. I could play like the solo of Stairway to Heaven. I could learn a song, I knew basic technique. But by this point, I've pretty much forgotten everything I knew. It's been forever since I've played. It's been multiple years. Though I have considered maybe getting a bass and relearning. I have had that interest and that itch. but I'm hesitant. I don't know if it's something I could really focus on right now with my other hobbies and just this channel really being kind of my main musical outlet. Yeah. And no, I've never been in a band. Gitu7653 asks me, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite animal? These are very important. These are very important questions. What's my favorite food? That's an easy one. Pancakes. I love me some good pancakes. Kind of an obsession of mine. I have talked about it on the show before. What's your favorite animal? Well, I do have this wolf tattoo. Wolves are cool. I like wolves. That would be the answer to that question. And that's everything I got. Thank you for the questions. I had a ton of fun with this. And thank you for getting me to 666 subscribers. Here to 666 more. And to keep growing. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for liking my content. I really, really genuinely appreciate it. I'm so grateful, as I've already said. And well, that's all I got. Hit the like button. Help me continue to grow by subscribing. That would mean the world to me. I have a Twitter you can follow. Link to that is in the bio of this YouTube channel. Leave a comment. Respond to my responses to these questions. I have a Patreon now. No pressure to support that way, but it is an option. I'm going to start giving exclusive content to that. And hey, keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beavermach, signing off.